Now we're going to turn our attention to the loading dock area. And what we're going to do is we're going to start at the back corner of the building, which is right here, and we're going to use that elevation. We also have a line that here, as you see here, that is a retaining wall. It's a 1 foot wide retaining wall, so we're going to have to account for that, as well as this is the flow line for the curb. So we're going to start using the line string command, and we'll keep those settings the way we've been doing it so far. And we want to start 2 feet in at this building line. So I'm just going to right click and use the offset snap. So we'll offset from segment. I'll pick the line right about there, and then I'm just going to put in 2 for the distance, and the offset's going to be 0 because we're going to be right on that line. I'm going to click OK. Now for the elevation, we want to be 4 feet lower from the finished floor. So if our finished floor is 455, we could put a -4, or we could just simply do a type in 451. But I'm going to do that, click save, and it starts our point there. Now we're going to go parallel to this wall, and we want to come up about 7 feet, and we're going to go at a downward slope of 2% to put in a trench drain in this area. So again, I'm going to use the offset snap, offset from segment, and I'm going to pick here, and I'm going to go along this line a distance of 7 feet. My offset's going to be a -1 because I'm going to be to the left, because I'm going, I started at this end and it goes in that direction. So I'm going to click OK to that, and our elevation is going to be -2%. So when I put that in, we've started that first line. Then we're going to come up here and we're going to right click again and go offset segment. We're going to pick this line, we're going to pick it down here towards this end, and the distance along that line, we're just going to come in here and just pick right there. So you can see it's about 80 feet. That's actually too long. We want it to be at about 77 feet for that break. So if I come up here, let's actually check this line, and you can see that that's 50 feet along there. So that's not where we want the ramp to break. We want the ramp to go out about 70 feet. So if we put in 70 for the ramp, and the offset again is going to be -1 foot, and we'll click OK to that, and then the distance is going to be a +2%, and you can see now it comes up to the front of the ramp. Right? Then we're going to go perpendicular to the building. So we're just going to right click, select perpendicular segment. We'll pick this point there, and we want the elevation, we want this to be flat across, so we're going to put a 0%, and it's going to put that elevation in. Okay. So now that we have that, we want to adjust the go ahead and adjust the building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the building, and we're going to set a couple of points here. So I'm going to go to vertical first, and we're going to add a vertical VPI at this corner, and that's going to be an elevation of the finished floor, which is 455. We'll save that. We want to put in a vertical point here, so that one's going to be along the line of this at whatever elevation was calculated. And then we need to actually put another one that is perpendicular over here. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to create a new line string, and we're going to go from the end of this where our trench drain is, and we're going to go perpendicular to this segment over here, and we're going to go at a 0% there as well. So now we have a point that we can bring this other line string to. So now I'm going to come back over here, we're going to go back to vertical, add in another VPI at this point, and the elevation is going to be along this line at that point right there. So we'll save that. And then this corner here is going to be at 451. So we'll save that. And then we're going to need another point here, and that one's going to be also along this snap or line at this point here, which should be 451 as well. So now we've adjusted for that. Now this line back here, well, we're going to fix up in a little bit later. But now what we've done, if I close this, you can see this, is we've got a beginnings of our ramp. Now this line here, what we want to do is we want to relayer that. So we're just going to go to properties. We're going to pick our layer, and that actually should be on that layer, which is our break lines. And we're going to assign that. Okay, so now we've got that started. Now we want to project this over and down to determine what the slope is going to be that we're going to run along this edge over here. So again, I'm going to start another line string. We're going to go from here. I'm going to go perpendicular to this wall, and we're going to go that way. A negative, actually that's going to be the other side of the wall, so that's going to be actually 0%. And then we will go perpendicular to this segment at a -1%. And then we will come over here perpendicular at a -1%. And then what we're going to do is we're going to close it off back to here, and we're going to use our explore object command to see what our slope is. So our slope there is 2.74, and that's what we want this side over here to also be. Okay. So what we can do is close this. We'll start another. Actually, what we'll do is we'll go and edit this building line. Okay. And we want this corner here, so we're going to add another VPI. That corner there, we want our incoming slope to be a -2.74. And we will save that there. So oops. So what we have to do, if we go to horizontal, you can see we have a horizontal point there. What we want to do here is we want to remove this with a question mark, and then hit save. And then if we go to vertical, you can see it's the vertical is what's controlling that slope. So if you have a horizontal there, it's going to override the vertical. So we just have to get rid of the vertical or the horizontal information. Okay. So next, what we can do is we need to put another line through here. So we're going to do another line string, and we will go from this corner here, and the elevation would be that point there, and then we're going to draw that to the end of that point there. Okay. Looks like we actually picked our wrong starting point, so let's go back to the starting point here. So make sure you pick this point, and the elevation should be correct. So hit save. So the elevation should be correct because the elevation is that point right there. So that looks a little bit better. So now we're following that flow line. So if we do our explore objects and we take a look, we're at -2.74, which is the same as the other side. Okay. So we could detail up the retaining wall by offsetting this line and creating the top of the retaining wall so that this end over here is 1 foot higher, but we can add that later. What we want to do is we want to come in and actually finish this side over here so that we can tie back into here. So we'll take a look at that in the next video.